Hello friends, I am Maudhendra Yadav speaking from India. The message and my pain, my feeling, and most of the Indians' feeling is that the Ukraine war, we are deeply distressed when I'm getting the news like the civilian infrastructure being damaged by the Russian missiles. One of the deadliest missile that Russia is employing against the Ukraine, whereas one of the fastest and deadliest weapon. But it is a war, I know that. But the question is this: is that it is right? It would be right to defend the damage of civilian infrastructure. Little children are being killed by the missiles. Missiles set aside, please. You just see that a very harsh climate is there. The winter is have overlapped whole country. If there is no water, there is no electricity, there is no gas supply or food crisis, etc., how people can survive there? It is kind of genocide against the civilian population. I am deeply distressed when I am getting always since 8-9 months that civilian infrastructure being damaged by the missiles, etc. What can I say? That it is a very unfortunate. I'm getting the image, video and pictures from very disastrous situations and the genocide in Bucha. What can I say? It is against the humanity. What Mr. Zelensky want to get from this? Mr. Zelensky must have to understand what they will get. Why not they come to the table and talk the issue? Everybody knows that there is west of Ukraine is the NATO forces present and eastern border is Russia is there, and both are the enemies. Mr. Zelensky know that. It is, I think, the Zelensky mistake. They must have to understand their people will suffer. Small children, women particularly, in a very hostile world where we are living. Millions have migrated as a refugee. What they have gone through the experience. Try to understand, Mr. Zelensky. Come to the table. At least talk the issue and resolve. It is your country. You are the president. You are wholly responsible for everything what is going on there. Sometimes it is wise to not to fight. This is a COVID situation. We are coming out of the, it is not the right time to get into the war. You must have to at least push the war 5 and 6, 7 years ahead. You have to find out the right time. Then you go. If you want to, you have the power to fight. You can fight. Like this time is you very painful one. Whole world is suffering. Particularly the Ukrainian citizens are suffering, and women and children. And you try to understand. You have a limited population. Fathers are being killed. Both sides are suffering, no doubt. But the war was the only solution for this. You have made many agreements to protect your land, which is Russia have occupied right now, the 4 provinces. What were the issue related to this reason? Why not you address this before? You are living in a zone who has 2 greatest forces. I think if these 2 forces come to in a class, you don't understand what would be the kind of word will come out from this. Mr. Vladimir Putin ordered to kept on the nuclear weapons since February when the war started. Which kind of world we are going to live? We have already fought 2 world war. We don't came out of this. I think you have to be a responsible state because of you or the kind of living in a buffer state. There is 2 greatest strongest forces are heading one to one another in opposite directions. Definitely it would be very disastrous if the war happens in these zones. Cleverly you have to handle this situation. Ultimately your citizen, you are the president. How to manage, how to employ your political skills to manage the things in a right way. But when Russia took his forces around, I think, the 2 months in your border, you didn't even took the serious implications. What could be the repercussions if this war is, fought in your land, infrastructure being totally damaged. Your countries were ruined. But everything is okay if you have the courage. Whatever you have, the defense argument, you can employ your argument. That's okay. But the very citizen that are suffering is very painful. The children, the women have living in a refugee. Thanks to Western nation, they have absorbed them. I don't know whether they are living in a dignified state or not, but definitely they were wherever they are. They were suffering. Definitely, no doubt. But ultimately, your home is your home. Foreigners' home, you can stay there, but you cannot claim that the kind of freedom that you need, you will get that. You must have to understand, and you have to be a buffer zone there, and you go and cooperate with and talk whatever the consequences. What is the way forward from this point, in this juncture? Is the war will result a solution? Do you think? You are being funded from Western nation, particularly the UK, United Kingdom, and the biggest perpetrator of war, the United States of America. When you try to understand this, when the Cuban missile Russia installed into the Cuba in 1960s, what United States did? They went into the cooperation and make the agreements that you have to remove from this and that. When the USA installed their missile into Italy, 1960s, the Russia installed the missile system in Cuba. They both went into the cooperation. You don't understand? You have to be a clever politician. You have to manage your citizens. You have responsibility to manage welfare of your citizens because of you are the president of that country. You are the sole responsible for everything, every action that you are taking. You don't understand, you can fight the war with Russia. If you win the war, he has the nuclear weapon. In a frustration, if he comes out and one and two, if they use the nuclear weapon, what could be the consequence? You must have to go and talk with on the table. At least address the issue. You are a politician. It is not drama that you have already done. Mr. Zelensky, come out on the table. My Prime Minister Modi, Narendra Modi, yesterday talked and advised Mr. Vladimir Putin to go and talk with the table. There will be no winner from this war. Only diplomacy can prevail. Peace and diplomacy is the way forward. Otherwise, this war will go on and on until the United States is funding the war. And your people, your land, your infrastructure, your everything, you are suffering. You are the loser in this war. Ultimately, the fathers that are being killed in this war, try to understand the feeling of that girl, boys, little bit too living there. You cannot understand the compassion, the feeling. You have gone empathy. You cannot feel the. You are the president. How do you can become the president, yaar? It's bogus. You feel the people's pain and suffering. What could be the result? Before the war, you must have thought that what could be the result, consequence if the war happens on my ground. My people and you have everything to lose. You will not gain anything. Why not you came to the table and negotiated with? This is the critical juncture. Both economies were covering from the various payout from COVID. This was not right time. Absolutely, you didn't employ your political skills. Everybody knows that I'm not defending Mr. Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is a rogue person, no doubt. It could be very good for the Russia, but he is not the as he is the president of that country. He can defend. He has the right to defend. He has right to employ his skill to get a political gains. Whatever the Russia is doing in their eye, they are doing well. They are doing good. But you have to employ your own skill, political skill, to cooperate with both forces. You have left and right, two forces. You want to join another forces. You wanted to join NATO. For what reason? You must have to become a buffer state in between two forces and then come to the United Nations Security Council. Every country will help you, but you wanted to took the NATO forces to the border of Russia. The expansion of NATO was the main issue. The fear of Russia is, of course, is genuine. My हाथ जोड़ के I am pleading to you, please go and talk. There is no way forward. Thank you very much. Pardon me if I, in an angry state and very emotional state, I have said anything wrong. But that's I'm saying right. You are the president. You must have to employ your political skill to get out of the problem. Thank you very much.